Hey everybody! I'm going to take a little bit of time in this video to go through all of the homework items here in week 6. So the first item that you have is of course the week 6 journal, which is a follow-up to the week 5 discussion. When you go into the week 6 journal instructions, you'll see the follow-up video up at the top. And if you remember, the week 5 discussion was not over an image this time. This time in week 5, we looked at a written argument, which was the Declaration of Independence. If you did not participate in that discussion, or if you would like to briefly look over the Declaration again, I've provided the link there at the bottom of the instructions that you can use to take another look at it. If you didn't participate in the week 5 discussion, I had also mentioned that there, I think on Wikipedia, but it might be another website, you can actually read the Declaration of Independence side by side with more of a modern day version of it, and I'm fine with that. So if you didn't do the week 5 discussion, you might want to use that to your advantage and just take a look at the Declaration in that way, and then come back and complete the week 6 journal. But once you have watched the follow-up video, then you'll answer the questions in step 2, just like we always do, and try to have that in by Sunday at 11:59. The next item for homework is a review of drafting research papers, which if you remember the lesson in week 6, there was only one lesson this week, and it was called drafting research papers. So this little assignment right here, it's only 4 questions, goes along with that lesson. So you'll need to go through the PowerPoint and maybe watch the video lesson as well, and then you'll be able to answer the questions here in this assignment. You'll be doing it in a Word document, so the assignment is also attached as a file there to the assignment instructions. You can use that as your template to save and upload. The next item for homework this week is Project Part 3, which is the rough draft of your argumentative research paper. You want to try to give me as complete a draft as possible. Remember, it's also in APA format. So that means give me the title page with the header, give me an introductory paragraph with your claim, give me body paragraphs with your main points, give me a section at some point where you are addressing the opposition, give me a concluding paragraph, use your source material. Integrate your source material in the rough draft. A lot of students don't do that in the rough draft, and then they're kind of flying blind when they submit the final draft because I was not able to give them feedback as to whether they've integrated it properly, whether they have cited it properly. So make sure that you are incorporating your source material in the rough draft. If the citations are wrong, we can fix that, right? If you didn't give the citations at all, I'm going to tell you, hey, this came from a source, but it's not cited. This would be considered plagiarism. If it's not fixed, you'll fail the final draft, but you have the opportunity to fix it, right? So give me as much as you can. Give me that reference page at the end and try to see if you can get it formatted properly the first time around. I'll give you feedback on that as well, all right? But remember, this is supposed to be 4 to 5 pages in length, not including the title page and the reference page. That's 4 to 5 pages of actual essay. Some students have done a pretty good job and only turned in about 3 to 3.5 pages, but they have had a very super focused topic, right? So 4 to 5 pages is about the norm. And it is double spaced, so that's not quite as much as it seems like at first. But try to give me, as much as you possibly can. Remember, you are supposed to have at least 2 sources to support your own point of view, your own argument, and at least 1 source that addresses an opposing point of view. Those 3 sources, or more if you choose, have to be used at least once somewhere in the draft, okay? Remember, on your references page, any source that's listed on that references page must be cited at least once in the body of the essay. And any source that's used in the body of the essay needs to be cited, and it has to appear on the reference page. Everything has to match up. Okay? Remember too that even though you are required to do research and use source material in this paper, a research paper should be at least 80% your own ideas and words. Only 20% or less should be from source material. This is your argument. Hopefully you have chosen a topic that you already have an opinion about, that you already feel somewhat strongly about, that you already have, some background knowledge of. Your sources are there to simply help back up your argument. Make sure the paper is yours. Don't rely too much on your source material. You need to have it in there, but the essay needs to be you. It needs to be yours. Okay? I have a list there, some bullet points of things to remember. I've already kind of hit on some of them. Remember, it should be typed and double-spaced in one of the 3 appropriate fonts. You need to have APA formatting, so your title page, your running head, your page numbers. You need an introductory paragraph with your claim. You need to have several main points that you address in the body paragraphs, and it might take you more than one paragraph to fully explain a main point. Just because you have a main point doesn't mean you have to cram it all into one paragraph, right? You can take multiple paragraphs to discuss one main point. Make sure you have good topic sentences, transitional topic sentences from one paragraph to the next. Make sure that each paragraph is fully developed, right? You want to make sure that you have specific and adequate support for each paragraph. Most of that's going to hopefully come from you, but some of it will come from your source material as well. Remember that you want to start every paragraph off with your own ideas and words, and you want to end every paragraph with your own ideas and words. Very rarely is it good to start a paragraph with source material or end a paragraph with source material. You want to give us your own ideas to start the paragraph, then incorporate your source material, and then explain that source material and how it relates to your main point, right? So sandwich your source material in your paragraphs, okay? Make sure that you've provided those citations. Make sure that you have a concluding paragraph. Make sure that you have the source material, 2 to support your own argument, 1 to support an opposing point of view. Make sure you have those citations. Make sure the reference page is, at least have a reference page. If we need to work on the formatting, that's okay. But give me your references at the end. List your sources for me. Remember to, like I said before, any source that's used in the body of the essay, whether you've used it in a summary, whether you've paraphrased it, or whether you have used a direct quote, you have to give a citation. It has to appear on the reference page. Anything that appears on the reference page has to be used at least once in the body of the essay. If you list a source on your reference page but didn't actually use any information from it in the body of the paper, it just needs to come off your references. It doesn't belong there. Okay? And try to do your best with, an appropriate formal tone, and try to have as few grammar and mechanical errors as possible. And the last bullet point there is highlighted in yellow, just so everybody is aware right up front. I do run the rough drafts through a plagiarism checker. So make sure that anything that's in your essay that is not your own ideas and words has been cited. If too much of it is from sources with no citations, you might be asked to redo the rough draft before I'll even give you feedback on it. If it's just a couple places where the citations aren't there, or whatever, then I might go ahead and just point that out to you and give you my overall feedback and let you revise it. It just depends on the severity of the source abuse. So that's what you need to keep in mind to do the rough draft. Again, the more you give me the first time around, the more feedback you'll get from me, and the easier the revision process will be. So do your best on that. The last item for this week is, of course, the week 6 discussion. We're going to go back again and look at some more visuals. So here in week 6, you're going to look at a really old school Maiden Form ad. So Maiden Form, you know, they make, women's undergarments, bras and panties. So we're going to look at, I laugh every time I think about it. But you're going to look at like an ad from the 80s, I believe, maybe even late 70s, for Maiden Form. So you're going to look over that ad. There's some words, a lot of words actually, a lot of text at the bottom of the ad, and I've provided that for you in the discussion instructions. So examine the image, think about the words, and then answer the 7 questions that we answer every week. Try to have your first post up by Thursday night and respond to 2 classmates by Sunday night before the discussion closes. If you have any questions about the homework for this week, if you run into any problems at all, let me know right away. Otherwise, you're free to get started on everything, and I will be on the lookout for those rough drafts.